Okay, hello and welcome to my next lecture. In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to find and vet the suppliers that you're going to work with or the manufacturers that you're going to work with from Alibaba so that you know that you're working with the best places. Okay, so we're on the Alibaba homepage now, and I'm going to do some searches that I already have pulled up here. And I'm going to show you some manufacturers or some other pages and show you the differences and some of the nuances to those pages so you know what it is that you're looking for. So I did a search for gardening tools, okay? And obviously you see a whole list of different, products here. And I've talked about it in other lectures, how to break down these search results, so how you could break it down by minimum order or what have you. Well, how do you make sure that you're going to only work with the best suppliers? Well, first of all, you should be filtering it by trade assurance, okay? And also by gold supplier. Those are two different things that I highly recommend you break down all your searches by. Now, you highlight over trade assurance. It says on-time shipment and pre-shipment product quality safeguards and 100% refund up to the trade assurance order amount is guaranteed by Alibaba, okay? So they're essentially saying that if there's a trade assurance of like $10,000, for example, or $33,000 in this case, their limit, if you have an order that goes up to this amount and it's in your contract, well, then Alibaba will reimburse you if there's something significantly wrong with that order. Okay, so that's a very important part to have, is to have trade assurance with anybody that you do business with on Alibaba. And also you want them to be a gold level supplier. And the more years they've been a gold level supplier, the better. I would much rather deal with somebody that's a 7-year member than a 1-year member. But I wouldn't necessarily restrict you or restrict from doing business with somebody just because they've only been a 1-year gold supplier. But if I had the choice between two places, I would definitely pick the one with more years. And you see here, when I break it down by trade assurance and gold supplier, you tend to see more companies that have more years of gold supplier status here. So as I go down, there's only one with 1 year, but many of them have 7 or more years. Here's one with 10. There's one with 1 again, but many of them have many years as a gold supplier there. So here's one with 14 and so forth, okay? So, having the trade assurance is definitely a big plus. Some of the other things that you could have and check for are the on-site check or the assessed supplier status. Now, having the gold level supplier or having a trade assurance, oftentimes those things are part of it already. So you can see here, when I highlight over the company, you can see that it's already been assessed by a third-party inspection company, or it has an on-site check. And when you click on those things, it actually takes you to that third-party assessment, or it takes you to that on-site check and what was done at those. So we're going to take a look at those briefly and just show you some of the things that are actually done. So here it is here, and you can see gold supplier, trade assurance, okay? So here's the third-party assessment that was done on this company and some of the things. The supplier has been inspected on-site by Bureau Veritas, a third-party verification agency. They offer assessment reports and verified videos. This gives buyers trust and authoritative information about suppliers, okay? So they're basically telling you and giving you more information about that company. So it says here, they're self-owned, what kind of business type it is, the industry they're in, how many employees they have, the number of international trading staff, their building size, how much office space they have, their annual revenue, some pictures of their facility. You can see there some pictures of their product, sometimes even a video, and the actual report itself. Okay, and you can even email the supplier down here. On the left-hand column, you could see some important information also in the company profile section, which I feel is important to learning about that company. I want to see that they're involved in trade shows. If they're not going to the Canton Fair or the Canton, that's a big no-no. They have to be going to that fair at the least. You want to see that they're going to some other ones as well, but they should be going to the Canton Fair at the very least, okay? It's just, I mean, it's in China, and anybody who's anybody goes to that fair. So you want to see that they're going to that fair, annually, or, at least this upcoming year. You could see some of the transaction history, but, they don't always show all of that on here. So I wouldn't put much credence into that. But the trade show thing is a big thing. You can see there are, research and development capacity. There are 11 to 20 people in the research and development engineers in this company. It is what it is. But you can see the production capacity. So some of them give that information, some don't. Their trade capacity, some give that, some don't. They also tell you where they're doing business throughout the world, that sort of thing. Their company introduction gives a brief overview, sort of like that report that we just saw. And you can see this video. Oftentimes, these videos are taken by Alibaba on their initial site visit when they do the assessment to see if they're going to be a gold level supplier or not. Sometimes they're outdated and actually from the 8th year, and sometimes they're updated. So, you got to take them for what they are. The on-site check, just the same. The supplier's company premises have been checked by Alibaba staff to verify on-site operations exist there. A third-party verification company has been confirmed that the legal existence of this supplier exists. So they see their business license, what kind of business they are. This one's a trading company, not a manufacturer. The address of it, who the applicant was, that sort of thing. So same type of information there for that company as well. Some of the other information that's available and that you want to see here, when you go into the company profile, you could see their management. You could see some other information. So this is the company intro. You can sometimes even see who the management staff is, their management structure, who the management team is. This one's very simple. It just has like a single name. But sometimes they'll actually have all the pictures of the people and list all the people that are involved in the company structure and so forth. So some of it's good, some of it's not so great. So there's more information about some companies than others. Okay, just with anything. So you always get a little bit more with some places than others. The other information, like I said here, so as I was saying, you could break it down by trade assurance and gold level supplier status. And then, like I said, you can go to the company's page by clicking on their name, okay, or clicking on contact details or whatever that is. I love to go to the company's pages and just check them out and just see, and just to really get a gauge of, who they are. Another good thing is to copy their name and then put it into Google. So I'm going to copy their name, and then I'm going to put it into Google to then go look a little bit to see if there's any other information about this company. See that they're on other websites. They're on global sources, and, see if they're on any other, websites other than Alibaba. If there's nothing except for that one page, that's a red flag. But of course, if they're a gold level supplier and they have trade assurance, you can pretty much, rest assured that they're a legitimate supplier. But, just double check, and just to make sure that there's no bad information out there, Google their name, make sure there's nothing bad said about them, online, see some other information, see that it matches up with what's on Alibaba, just to make sure that, what's on there is not, misinformation and all of that. Because you want to make sure that you're doing business with a reputable company, okay? Now, some of the other information that I wanted to show you was the difference between a trading company and a manufacturer. So when you saw there, when I go to the company page, you remember there I went to the company profile right here, okay? And when you go to that page, it tells you the business type, manufacturer. And now this one's a manufacturer, and this one's a trading company. Now, who would you rather do business with? A trading company is like a wholesaler, where a manufacturer is the manufacturer, the person who's making the product. So oftentimes you're going to get a much worse price when you deal with a trading company over the manufacturer. So you generally always want to go direct to the source. There are times where the trading companies can get you a better price based on the volume that you're purchasing at. So if you're purchasing at a very small volume, the trading companies sometimes are good to work with just because the manufacturer might not deal with that volume that you're looking for. So maybe if you're only looking for 100 or 200 pieces or something like that, the manufacturer might not deal with you, and they'll give you an awful price if they do want to send you just 100 pieces. But the trading company might take your business at that level because they buy wholesale and resell, and they're more than willing to sell you 100 pieces and could give you a better price on that. But if you're going to buy 1,000 pieces or 500 pieces or whatever, you're going to get the much better price direct from the manufacturer. So it's important to see the difference between the business types and make sure that you know whether you're doing business with a manufacturer or a trading company. Okay, so those are some important things to distinguish when you're trying to vet your suppliers and know who you're doing business with. Okay, some other things that I do is I look up the actual phone number to the company and I'll call them, and I'll see the kind of response that I get when I call them. And I'll say, if I contact them and it sounds like it's somebody's cell phone, that's a problem. But most of the time, if you're going through the vetting process and you're breaking it down by trade assurance and gold supplier, and you do those other checks and you make sure that it's a legitimate company, you're not going to get that on the other end. But, if you didn't do those checks beforehand and, you were to call first and, you called a 1-year-old company, it might be a tiny company. So, you need to keep those things in mind. But I also like to call sometimes just to see if there's English-speaking people over on their end. And I'll ask for somebody that speaks English just to see. And, introduce myself and say, I'm going to, I'd like to do business with you. Can you, I'm sending you emails. I would like to have a catalog or something like that. So sometimes it is just, good just to give a quick introduction to yourself. Tell them that you plan on doing business with them. Look out for an email from you, and so forth like that. Sometimes you can't get somebody that speaks good English, though. So sometimes you just have to deal with just sending them an email, which is, always posted at the top, or by hitting contact supplier. Okay, that's it for this, this video here. I hope you've learned a lot. This is how you can vet your suppliers. It's important to do that. You need to know who you are doing business with. Okay, can't stress that enough.